And then I wanted to ask you about assembling your team. I think you've got two publicists, both of whom have been lovely that I've spoken to. You've got your literary agent, you've got your TV, your film agents. I saw in the back of Will in the Dark Hollow, you're thanking three different freelance editors. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah. So it must come from my CEO days or something. I don't know what, but I get a lot of help. So let's talk about the freelance editors first. So remember when I said I was a CEO and I didn't have much time and so on. Well, I discovered that you can connect with people on the internet, and you can find professional editors, people who have worked at professional publishing houses, and they are operating in a freelance fashion now. And so you can employ them to read your book and provide objective feedback. And so I got in the habit of doing that, and I would create little focus groups, little reader groups of these editors, have them read my work, and then provide me feedback all through the internet. And I would learn how to improve my writing by working with these editors. Some of them were terrible and they provided me no benefit, and I would drop them from my list. Others were mediocre, others were brilliant and really helped, and I still use them to this day. So once my daughters and my wife read the book and we work on it and refine it, the first thing I do is work with my freelance editors over the internet and through email, and they give me their feedback. I have some that I reuse on every book and I trust them, but that's also dangerous because they, for lack of a better word, they like me too much now. In other words, we have a relationship now and we're friends in a way. And so I need to be careful about what they're telling me. So I also employ total strangers to read the book as well in order to and they have no idea who I am. And so they give me feedback in a totally fresh way, and they don't care if they hurt my feelings or anything like that. They're more objective because they've not read any of my books before. So then once I go through that process, as you can imagine, that takes a few months, I then give it to my editor at Disney, and she reads it, and we go through the process all over again. In the end, she is, of course, my editor at Disney is, of course, the most important editor that I have, and gives strong recommendations. And then she never writes anything or changes anything. And that's not what editors do. Instead, they say, well, have you thought about this? And well, maybe this part's a little weak. Maybe you could improve that part. You know, they give you criticism of what could be improved and maybe recommend some other ideas and that sort of thing. So then I take that and revise the book with that very important feedback as well. So for example, the book that I submitted to my editor at Disney, Stephanie, the book that eventually got published was quite different. It wasn't drastically different, like it wasn't that it changed the themes or the overall plot or anything like that, but a lot of big improvements were made by working with a good editor. So that's the editing side. I've always been very much involved with having people provide me feedback and then deciding how to respond to that. Again, they don't tell you how to write. They just tell you their experience in reading your material, and then you know where you need to improve. So, and then on the other thing is, yeah, I'm an entrepreneur by by spirit. And so one of the biggest things I learned in my entrepreneurial career in software was this idea that if you build it, they will come, meaning that somehow the world's just going to magically know that you've written this book or that you've developed this software. That's false, right? The world's too big and too loud and complicated for people to spontaneously discover you. You have to bring it to people's attention. And so that's why I have both publicists at Disney who work with all the other Disney authors, but I also have my own publicists and managers here in Asheville, and we work hard to market and promote my books. So, for example, if it weren't for them, I wouldn't have time to find you and to speak with you. I would be too busy just focusing on my writing and only doing that because that's my first love. But with the help of Scott and Lydia and Seal and Christine and the others that work with me, they find opportunities and people for me to talk to and help promote the book.
And I mentioned you're recording this from, I love that you have your own studio. So do they help you plan programs for your YouTube channel as well?
Yes. So we work on that together. Yes. Mm-hmm. So, as you can tell from our discussion thus far, I love technology and software and all that kind of stuff. So when we started thinking about how can we reach people, what's the most efficient way to reach people, we had this idea of setting up a little YouTube studio in my workshop here. And so now it's become one of my hobbies. So when I relax, I work on my YouTube studio, the cameras and the lighting and the video equipment and all that kind of stuff. I just find that to be fun.
Given the way the passion and the gusto with which you throw yourself into things, I assume you're going to be doing this show, and then I'm going to be hoping to be a guest on that.